This is Citizen King. You probably have no idea who they are, but if you owned a radio in 1999 and spent any amount of time listening to alternative rock stations, you've probably got one of their songs hidden somewhere in your memory. They were featured in numerous movies, TV shows like Malcolm in the Middle, a skateboarding game for the original PlayStation, and even appeared on Conan O'Brien in April of 1999, an episode which I unfortunately could not find, despite staying up far too late on consecutive work nights searching for the footage. Quick disclaimer, the information I am providing in this video is based on already available interviews and articles. If any of the information is incorrect, don't kill the messenger. Let's go. These guys were an alternative group from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, who formed in 1993 after a disbanding of another local band called Wild Kingdom, which featured 4 of the 6 members who would later form Citizen King. The members met at a bowling alley when they were in high school, later calling themselves the Bombast Bowlers. A few of the members were avid vinyl collectors. Sometime in the late 80s, they attended a concert featuring Fishbone, Run DMC, LL Cool J, and Beastie Boys. And according to Matt Sims, this was a huge inspiration to the band members to move forward pursuing a musical career even years before Citizen King would form. The band had a consistent lineup during its 9-year run, with the exception of a few different bassists in the early years, with bass duties later being handled by the lead vocalist. As I mentioned earlier, the band consisted of 4 members who previously played in a local band called Wild Kingdom. Drummer DJ Brooks, turntablist Malcolm Michaels, keyboardist Dave Cooley, and bassist Sage Schwarm added vocalist Matt Sims and guitarist/keyboardist Christian Riley, and Citizen King was born. Fun piece of trivia. The name is a mashup of Citizen Kane, the name of an incredibly influential 1941 Orson Welles film, and a slogan from politician Huey Kingfish Long, "Every man a king." The group immediately went to work and were relentless in their writing and recording, having produced numerous demo tapes, albums, and EPs from their inception up until their final album in 1999. The band was a very explosive and album-accurate live act with a lot of energy and a sound that translated very well to the stage. A quick search on Discogs reveals just how much work was done by this band over their short career, and the results are impressive to say the least. These guys had an ironclad work ethic despite being stoners who loved to party and, I quote, goof around a lot. We will now quickly glance at their discography. We won't spend too much time here today as I will be reviewing their official studio releases at a later date. The first recorded offering takes us all the way back to 1993, with the 4-track demo cassette that was distributed when the band was touring with Biohazard and Fishbone. Of the 4 tracks, only one would go on to be featured on a studio album. Just a year later, on April 5th, 1994, the band released their second demo tape. This time the tape contains 6 songs, 5 of which would make it into their first full-length album despite some differences between the versions. These demos are very rare but were made easily accessible in 1997 on a compilation called Sydney High. This compilation is made of 16 previously unreleased tracks, outtakes, B-sides, alternate versions of tracks, live jams, and the OG demo tapes spanning from 1993 to 1996. Now for the official studio releases. In 1995, Citizen King released their debut full-length album called The Brown Bag LP. The album contains 12 tracks that cover a very wide range of styles and is notable for containing 3 tracks that were co-produced by Speech from Arrested Development. The next year would see a 5-track EP, Count the Days, featuring more of the band's signature mixing of styles. Around this time, the band was discovered after their South by Southwest performance and were subsequently signed by Warner Brothers. Fast forward 3 years and we are gifted with the band's major label debut, Mobile Estates. Sadly, this will also be the last album from this band. 13 tracks that are largely a vast departure from anything Citizen King had released previously, while still remaining a good marriage between their signature sounds and the popular alternative trends of the time. This album contains their big hit, Better Days. As previously stated, there will be reviews of these albums later, so that's all for now. So after the commercial success, the years and years of constant work, countless electrifying performances across the country, appearing on national television shows and soundtracks for both film and video games, what the hell happened? How did a band with such a tenacious approach just fall off the face of the earth immediately after finding success? I did a lot of research to prepare for this video, sometimes even staying up late at night to check archived versions of the Citizen King website to see if I missed anything. reading the handful of Citizen King interviews you can still find floating around, browsing around for torrents that might contain their appearance on Late Night with Conan O'Brien. I reached out to the 4 members who are on social media, and I only received one response, which very politely let me know that the interviews with any of the band members would be highly unlikely at this point. Ultimately, I came up empty-handed, which I honestly expected, but I was hoping it wouldn't be the case. It makes sense if you think about it, though. I can't be the only person in 2 decades who has been curious, and the silence from literally every former member of Citizen King seems to indicate that we will never truly know what happened. I can only offer speculation, which is ultimately meaningless, so I'll just say this. I am of the opinion that the split wasn't amicable. If a very dedicated and tenacious band splits shortly after finding success, no members have granted interviews on the topic in 20 years, and one member ultimately left the country to pursue an entirely different band and persona, this is the most likely scenario. No need to stay on this topic, but I will say I was pleasantly surprised to see that the entire Mobile Estates lineup, minus Matt Sims, who doesn't use social media to my knowledge, still follow each other and are still pursuing their passions. I did not intend to make this exact type of video, but given the lack of closure and insight into the split of the band, this will have to do. We will look into the endeavors of the band members since the split in 2002. We will focus on the Mobile Estates lineup, as I would expect information on the departed bassist to be pretty difficult to come by, and the 5 members present for Mobile Estates were all founding members of Citizen King. Number 1, Christian Riley, the former guitarist and backing vocalist who also tinkered with keyboards. Among his accomplishments, he is the founder of Yardlight Records. He is a fire dancer and a producer/mixer/engineer for other indie bands who has also played guitar on several albums and produced a good number as well. For more details, check his credits on Discogs. This man has stayed busy, which, as we'll see, is a recurring theme for these guys. Side note, don't let the lack of lead guitar on Mobile Estates fool you. This man can absolutely play the shit out of his guitar. Next up, we have drummer DJ Brooks. As a very cool side note, this man actually took lessons from Clyde Stubblefield himself. Not sure who that is? Yeah, you are. Take a listen. He is not only a drummer, but a percussionist, a DJ, a singer, and a songwriter. Starting his professional career in 1990, he was a touring drummer with the Bodines and was also a touring drummer on the musical Spirit, the Seventh Fire. DJ Brooks also played drums on the Arrested Development song Shell. He is an excellent pocket drummer with tremendous groove that fit the music perfectly. So I was really bummed to find that he wasn't very active on his drums after Citizen King disbanded, as far as I could tell from Discogs and Google searches. He is now a successful DJ who performs at numerous types of events with his business, Best Man Music. Moving on, we have the turntablist Malcolm Michaels. Co-founder of the Milwaukee Creative Music Ensemble, he actually got his start breakdancing before becoming a DJ in 1989. His first DJ sets were performed whilst opening for Citizen King, and he has also performed on Garbage and Smash Mouth records. Following the disbandment of Citizen King, Old Man Malcolm, as he calls himself, stayed incredibly busy with solo albums, production duties on hip-hop albums, and even co-owned a studio with fellow Citizen King alum Christian Riley. Judging by his Instagram, he seems to still be very active in his musical career. 3 down, 2 to go. Dave Cooley wears many hats in the music world, and within the confines of Citizen King, he was a primary songwriter alongside Matt Sims, at least as far as the album Mobile Estates is concerned, as I haven't seen writing credits for the other releases. He played keyboards and also had an old telephone in his rig that he used to provide distorted backing vocals, most notably in the song Better Days. I honestly wouldn't be able to list all of his work in a video like this, but you can find out about him on Google, Discogs, his Instagram posts, etc. But I have to mention that he helped mix and master Mad Villainy. If you don't know what that is, you definitely should. Rest in power, Doom. Make sure to set aside a half hour or so before you go down this rabbit hole, because this guy has been busy as hell. He currently works at Elysian Masters. Last but not least, the frontman, lead singer, and eventual bassist Matt Sims. Let me just say finding information on this dude was very annoying because there are a million people with that same name. A football player, a doctor, a bodybuilder, an author, a DJ, this fucking guy, a real estate agent, and this other fucking guy. Anyway, after inheriting a very large record collection from a sibling, Sims would get his start in a ska band known as the Pacers before joining Citizen King. Following the end of Citizen King, Sims carried that momentum forward into a promising solo career as Mount Sims, adopting a somewhat early Prince-like appearance and creating electropop dance music. After moving to LA and subsequently Germany, Sims would release a few albums, EPs, and collaborations, as well as providing remixes for artists like Madonna, and he even joined a band called the Silliers for a brief stint between 2008 and 2009. His music also appeared on the soundtrack to a 2005 skateboarding game called Amped 3. He changed his name sometime in the early 2010s to CEI, but aside from a page with virtually no information and a few dead iTunes/Apple Music links, I was unable to find anything under this name. As Sims does not appear to use social media, I unfortunately have to report that he seems to have fallen off the face of the earth sometime around 2013, unless there's something I'm not finding, which is entirely possible. If that is the case, please leave a link in the comments. The most recent media I was able to find was a Fader interview about Tomorrow in a Year, a 2010 opera for which Sims created music. On the off chance that you see this, I really hope that you're doing well. So there we have it. I read every f***ing interview that I could. I reached out to the band, searched the infinite depths of DuckDuckGo, Google, and Bing, all to come up relatively empty-handed. It was reasonable to expect, because during the 2 decades since the band split, as I said before, none of the members have publicly mentioned the breakup of the band, so why would they start now for a no-name YouTube channel? But I did enjoy doing this research, and I hope that it'll help you to gain a better appreciation for who these guys were and who they are now. They were so much more than just a one-hit wonder, lost in the shuffle of the weird cargo pants, hip-hop, rock, funk alternative of the late 90s. These guys were a very tight band capable of pulling off so many styles and invoking a myriad of emotions. It's a shame there was so little recorded music and even less good quality live footage. To my knowledge, the last offering from Citizen King was the track Jackknife. I'll always feel a lingering sadness when I listen to them, knowing that I've so deeply enjoyed their music and will always wonder what could have been. Thank you for watching.